Netanyahu had incited these acts. UN Commission of Inquiry on the Occupied Palestinian Territories is an independent body, and the statement is not as a whole from the United Nations. The 72-page legal analysis has cited examples of the scale of the killings, aid blockages, forced displacement and the destruction of a fertility clinic to back up its genocide finding. Let's listen in to what the chair of the commission has said on the matter.
Genocide is occurring in Gaza and is continuing to occur, and the responsibility lies with the state of Israel. We identified 3 persons in this report, and that is Prime Minister Netanyahu, the former Minister of Defense, Gallant, and one other, the President of Israel, whose statements inciting genocide is recorded faithfully.
The Israeli Foreign Ministry has rejected the report and called its findings distorted and false, while also calling for abolishing the commission. Israel's representative to the United Nations has also rejected the report, calling the commission anti-Semitic. Let's take a listen in.
3 individuals serving as Hamas proxies, notorious for their openly anti-Semitic positions and whose horrific statements about Jews have been condemned worldwide, released today another fake report about Gaza. The report relies entirely on Hamas falsehoods, laundered and repeated by others. These fabrications have already been thoroughly debunked, including in an independent, in-depth academic study by Bessa.
Meanwhile, a spokesman for the United Nations humanitarian agency has also said that multiple missions to send aid to Gaza City have been denied by Israeli authorities. Israel is also fighting a genocide case at the International Court of Justice. It rejects such accusations, citing its right to self-defense following the October the 7th Hamas attack that Israel says killed 1,200 people and resulted in 251 people being taken hostage. We are now joined by Mati Zawaig, who's a geopolitical expert, and he joins us live from Tel Aviv in Israel. Mati, thank you very much for joining us here on the program. Mati, a substantial and significant report coming out of the United Nations today. This joins other bodies, including the UN's Office of High Commissioner for Human Rights, saying that Israel's warfare has consistent characteristics of genocide. And of course, as we've mentioned, there is an International Court of Justice hearing brought by South Africa that alleges Israel is committing genocide also. Can I get your initial response to these accusations?
Look, it's not nice to receive all these accusations, but you know, all the time the UN are doing different reports from different commissions. You know, it's very nice to listen countries like Venezuela or North Korea talking about things about Israel. But I must tell you something, and this is not a joke. If we take out all the dust that is going down to the floor and avoid all these noises in the background, I can tell you that until now, there have been several commissions talking about different outcomes from something that is essentially a war. You have parameters for genocide. These parameters have not been taken on the ground only from narratives and not for real things that are happening. There is no genocide, there is a terrible war. I mean, you can say you are not right, but then let's check it because it doesn't meet the parameters of a genocide. Genocide was the Holocaust against the Jews. Genocide was what the Armenians had, or Rwanda. This was genocide. What is happening now is a terrible war. This is from one thing. And anyway, every decision from these commissions is going to get to the Security Council, and then is going to be vetoed because there is no real and serious investigation of things. There are all kinds of narratives of temporary countries that they are in different commissions. I'm not saying this is not serious, it's serious for us, because people is buying these narratives in all the world, and Israel is suffering from a big isolation now from a lot of countries, including friends. So this is my response, that is taken very seriously. And of course, you have a huge discussion inside Israel on what to do, if to continue the war or not, on what way. But as I said several times in the past, you need two for tango. The world must pressure also about what Hamas do. And then when you have pressure on both sides, and not only to one side, maybe will be a different outcome.
Yes, and Matti, this report alleges that Israeli forces have committed 4 out of the 5 acts of genocide defined under the 1948 Genocide Convention against a national, ethnic or racial or religious group. In this case, of course, Palestinians in Gaza. They include the killing of the members of the group, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, deliberately inflicting conditions of life calculated to bring about the destruction of the group as a whole or in part, and then imposing measures intended to prevent births. Now, specifically here, they've cited the December 2023 attack on Gaza's largest fertility clinic, which reportedly destroyed about 4,000 embryos and 1,000 sperm samples. Matti, responding to those accusations, of course, Israel's foreign ministry has called this body anti-Semitic. Do you think that's a correct term to use when describing the creators of this report?
Well, I don't like when people use the word anti-Semite just because. And the same way I don't like when the people use the word genocide, like just because. I mean, you must prove from one side or from the other. There are several countries in Europe that they are behaving not only in an anti-Israeli mood, but an anti-Semite mood, like Spain, for instance, or Ireland, or all kind of accusations from different ministers in Belgium or Norway, or of course in Arab countries or in Latin American countries. Prove it. You have to prove accusations. That's the way, in Israel, for instance, we have very strong and deep investigations about some action of the prime minister himself and his private behavior. And I always say, maybe people is right, but prove it. You must prove it and not only talk. When people just talk, what you are doing is repeating and repeating and calling Matti to say, what is your response from something that is not proven? And I think we all must prove things in order to say things that accuse, and then it's just putting a prejudice on everybody, including when from Israel they call anti-Semite. I mean, this is because are always under pressure, and not always they really separate friends from foes. But
Matti,
this is the situation in this moment. Everyone is under pressure.
Matti, people would say it is quite hard to prove what is going on, since Israel does severely limit international organizations and, of course, foreign media into the Gaza Strip. And so that is why a lot of these reports cannot be thoroughly checked as they are. Matti, I'm sorry, we have to...
You are right. You are right with this, and especially about journalists. Maybe they should change the way they let journalists go inside. But about organizations, it depends. If you are talking about UNRWA, that this has been labeled like an organization that is helping the terrorists, with another organizations that maybe are different.
Okay, Matti,